Happy Thursday. We're so stoked to be back with you. We went a little long on this week's episode, so we wanted to skip the intro and just dive right in. This week, we've got Steve Lund on, learning all about his journey from hockey to becoming an actor and his experience on Schitt's Creek. We also get into his upcoming project, Wildhood. Of course, we talk about his best and worst on-screen kisses and his love for astrology. What more could you want? This is a super great episode where we get to know Steve, who we are now referring to as our future new best friend. You can connect with him on Instagram at Levin_stunned. Link is in the show notes. And we want to give a special shout out to his band, Burnt Reynolds, which we didn't get a chance to talk about in the episode, but it is a variety of hunk rock. And we'll be sharing more about that through Instagram. We hope you love this episode. Listen along. Let's dive in.
All right, we've got fellow Maritimer here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, you may recognize him from shows like Schitt's Creek or those beautiful Hallmark holiday movies and, you know, many other things. But welcome, Steve Lund. We're so happy you are here in the virtual R&Q studio.
It's an honor to be here. And it's a real travesty that we can't be together right now. I'd love to be in the same room with y'all gabbing it up. I feel like that would be really fun. Tragic that we have to do it this way, but still no consolation, of course.
Well, don't worry. We will get in the same room together at some point. That's kind of the deal when you connect with Ash and I.
We're instant pals.
That's right.
We did say that when we first called you, that part of this deal was you had to be friends with us.
Yes, I remember the contract I signed, yeah.
And here you are. Well, we're happy you're back in Nova Scotia. You're just finishing up some of your isolation time. How's that been going? Like, how are you staying sane all by yourself?
It's difficult, but I'm used to it at this point. This is my 7th time quarantining.
What?
Wow.
Total, yeah.
Is that because you've been filming during lockdown and stuff?
Yeah, and I kept coming back to Nova Scotia like over the summer. So there was 2 or 3 times. And then I did one accidentally recently. Like I came home just for a day to register a new car. And then I ended up staying for 2 weeks. Because there was a drum kit in the attic, you know, I just like, and then there was like weather and other things. It just ended up being like, oh wow, I'm on day 12. I might as well just ride this out. And then I went back for a job recently, a quick smooch job, like we were talking about. And then I was like, I'd rather be in Nova Scotia for the summer. So yeah, here I am.
Are
back
you
on the
usually
isolation?
Are you here in the summer often, or are you kind of in LA or traveling around, or what is the summer usually like for you?
Usually I bounce around. It's wherever the work is, but I try to be home, you know, COVID notwithstanding, for, you know, a couple weeks to a month. And last year I was home for like 10 of 12 months, I think, or something like that.
Oh,
And
wow.
That's kind of crazy.
Glorious. It was so amazing. I mean, last summer was one of the best summers of my life for so many different reasons. Just getting to reconnect with old pals, you know, and just sort of live as a Haligonian for the first time since I was 16, I think, or 15. Maybe.
Is that when you left?
Well, no, I guess I came back Halifax when I was 16 the first time, and then again when I was 19. So yeah, whatever, 12 years or something like that. But so nice to be home. So, I mean, there's no better place to spend the summer, that's for damn sure. And Canada's ocean playground loves it.
It's a good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I appreciate the I love it when people like to come home. I think that's nice. It's like just speaks to how great it is to be here. And yeah, even if your work is in other places, it's nice when you can come back.
Yeah, and it'll always be home for me. Even though most of my family doesn't live here full time. My dad lives in Kelowna. My mother has been living in Thailand for the last 6 years. My little sister is in New Zealand, has been for the last 6 years. So it's really just my older sister, Chelsea, here. Shout out Chelsea. She's the best person ever.
We love you, Chelsea.
What are you most excited for when you're released from isolation? Like, what are you going to do first in Halifax?
I am going to immediately into the loving embrace of my best friend, Mark Larson. Shout out Mark Larson.
Mark.
Yeah, he's got Wednesday off, and so I imagine we'll be in his backyard trying to demolish a 2-4 of Alpine or Moosehead or something. Maybe he's even got his inflatable pool out by now. I don't know, but something along those lines, I reckon. Just reconnecting, you know, it's nice. I'm hearing myself talk a lot right now because I've not spoken very much
to anyone.
It'll be nice to have a sounding board again and, you know, just reconnect. Yeah.
I love this. Well, we're so excited to have to kind of learn about your journey into acting and stuff like this, because it's not a normal career path for people on the East Coast. Like, it's pretty rare because we don't have as much of that industry here as people do in like Toronto, or if you live on the West Coast in Vancouver, or, you know, down in LA and stuff. So it's kind of, that's one of the reasons why we want to talk to you, is just hear more about you and how you got from Halifax to being in frigging Schitt's Creek, which is now like the hit of the world, which is amazing.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
How did this all begin for you?
Well, I mean, first of all, I want to say, you know, I think it's great that you guys are interested in having these conversations. I think it's wonderful what you're doing. It seems like such an awesome vibe. I just want to congratulate you on, you know, opening the conversation up to people doing diverse things. And because I really like to be an advocate for just in general to do what you love, and, you know, do the things that make your heart sing, you know, whatever other cliches you want to put on it, you know.
We love heart singing.
Yeah.
We're going to ask you about what lights you up later. So I
can feel Sarah's energy just being so amped right now when you're talking.
Keep going, Steve.
Keep telling us good things.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that.
We can do some real singing too, but you know, for me, growing up in Halifax, you know, a tale as old as time. I played hockey from the moment I could until the moment I couldn't any longer. You know, at one point in my life, that was looking like the direction my life was going to go, and that you know, a lot of people were telling me that I could perhaps have a career in hockey. So I did what anyone else would do in that situation, growing up in Halifax, where, you know, that is sort of the Canadian dream. And I rode that all the way to a point where I found myself, you know, becoming an adult, really checking in with my, you know, inner feelings and recognizing that perhaps this isn't, you know, the direction that my life is supposed to head in. So, and around that time, I was having a really difficult time with a coach that I had in PEI, who's a complete dictator. I really didn't jive with this person, and I was very depressed, trying to figure out like what I was doing wrong. I just had no confidence whatsoever. And then I got traded to Halifax, and things started to turn around for me. I had a much better coach, a much better team and vibe, and I was, you know.
And that was the Mooseheads, right, Steve?
Mooseheads, yeah. So that sort of revamped my love for hockey again, and I was sort of finding my way back to the passion I once had. And then in the off season, one year I was playing pickup hockey for fun out at the Centennial Arena in Fairview, and there was a guy that we were playing with who had a lot of anger problems, and he was using steroids, I believe, at the time. And anyway, bad combination. He got into a little scuffle with a very dear friend of mine, John MacArthur. Shout out, John. Love you too.
I grew up with John.
Did you really? Oh no.
What do you say? Oh no.
Well, it could go either way. I don't know.
No. We got on well. Yeah.
Okay, good. No, he's one of the funniest people on earth. So, and you know, I love this person. He's my best friend. And like, I don't remember very much from the day. I remember like these sort of tidbit little memory things, but I do remember we had an excellent day together, he and I. you know, we were like really bonding as buds. I think we went like grocery shopping or something like that. I just felt like I was in love again with my best friend, you know, because we hadn't spent too much time together while I was away in PEI.
How old were you at this point? Because I'm just loving the picture you're painting.
I think I was 18.
Okay. 18, in love with your best friend, you're grocery shopping.
Grocery shopping, you know, like I don't even think we bought anything. Like we were just like going down the aisles, and it was just like, let me tell you about my best friend. And
then you're playing hockey together.
Yeah, and then like later on that evening, we went and played hockey together, and you know, this guy got into it with my friend, and I was just like, nobody touches my best friend, like no way. And so they, you know, have their gloves and helmets off, and it's kind of a yard sale. And this guy is on his way to the penalty box, and I was on the bench at the time, and I stepped off the bench, and I'm feeling all of this, like, you know, protective instincts, and I think I say something really tough along the lines of like, hey, this is my best friend, man. Don't touch my best friend. And he didn't like that so much. And as I was skating away, he kind of skated back to me, and he hauled off and sucker punched me. And I fell to the ice and was unconscious for 10 minutes. And that was like a really bad brain injury that I had. And oddly enough, and this is a funny part of the story. I mean, there's a lot of funny parts of the story, actually.
Except for that part.
Well, yeah, that's the one unfunny part for sure. The rest is kind of hilarious. But so there's like this bench clearing brawl, right? Like what he did is like the lowest thing you could possibly do on, you know, on the hockey rink or in any sports arena, really. And so I'm lying there like basically dead, like lying in a fucking pool of my own blood. My friend Dan Fougere, if you guys know Dan, he was there at the time. He came out and stood over my lifeless body. He told me this like many months later, and he's like, "You killed him. He's dead." It was very traumatic. And so somebody called the ambulance naturally, and this guy, and I won't name his name, he was like on probation or something or whatever with the law, and he heard the sirens, and so he took off out the back door with all his hockey gear on, and he's like running through the streets of Fairview.
I mean, this does sound funny.
the convict on the loose.
Yeah, just like skating down the sidewalk, and I'm sure no one batted an eye in Fairview, but yeah. So the other funny part to that story is, so going back to, you know, my best friend John MacArthur, I kind of come to in the hospital, and you know, it's that kind of moment. I don't know if you guys ever had a brain injury. It's kind of like waking up from a very deep sleep, and you're like, whoa, what just happened? Like, am I dead? Is this heaven? And you're kind of loopy. It's almost like you've taken like Novocaine or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. You sort of have a disassociation with reality. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I see this like shining, you know, aura, mm-hmm. and it's and and then something interrupts that aura, and it's the beautiful face of my housekeeper, Tina, whom I've had the hugest crush on for years. I'm like, this lady is so attractive, and she just happens to be like sweet, and she cleans a mean house. Actually, she wasn't even that good at cleaning the house. I think we kept her on because she was just so lovely. Shout out Tina. But and so I don't know what's going on in my like revelry. I'm like
you're in heaven, Tina, in your mind.
Like, yeah. I'm like, Tina's
an angel.
Like, I've thought about this moment forever. Are we finally gonna do this? Like, are we gonna hook up? Like, what's happening? And she had to explain to me, like, no, your face is like just busted open. We have to give you like 20 stitches. You're in the hospital. I'm actually a nurse when I'm not cleaning your underwear.
I'm
not Tina. Oh no. Oh, it is Tina, but she's also a nurse.
But she's a nurse. This makes sense of why she came to your rescue, because I was thinking, why would your housekeeper just come to your rescue?
Right, exactly. Like, there was some laundry to do, but like, you know, this could wait until
But
Sunday.
She knows things. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And so, and then the other person that was there in the room with me was John MacArthur, and he had tears in his eyes. Like, he was just so supportive and you know, just like, dude, I'm here with you, don't worry, like everything's gonna be okay. And like he was just so, you know, he was on another planet as well. And you know, when you have a concussion, you have no short-term memory. You have a hard time like recalling, you know, things that happened whatever 5 minutes ago. So you keep repeating the same questions. And the most burning question for me at the time was who I was seeing, like romantically at the time.
Is it Tina? Who is it?
Yeah. Tina had to break the news to me, like, no, it's not happening, dude. Like, you're still in your hockey gear. Like, if it does happen, it's not gonna be like this. You know, I was like, okay, cool. Doors not closed. Got it, Tina. I'm picking up what you're putting down. But I kept turning to John, being like, hey, John, psst, like, come here. He's like, what's up, man? I'm like, who am I dinging? What? I'm like, who am I dinging? He's like, dude, what are you saying? I'm like, who's my girlfriend right now? And he's like, oh, dude, it's Lee. And I was like, Lee. Oh, and yeah, sick, Lee. Awesome. That's great, man. So good. Gonna have to call her later. He's like, yeah. Then 5 minutes later, like, John, psst, come here. Dude, who am I dinging again? He's like, Lee, dude, Lee. And I'm like, oh, sick. Yes. So that was the scene in the hospital for me. And I'm sure we're very off track here now, but anyway.
No, this is like a good story. So this was like a very important moment in your hockey career. You've gotten back in Halifax. You have this moment. You end up in the hospital.
Yep.
Then what happens after that?
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
No.
Is that as you were telling the story, Steve, I was thinking about you being like my best friend, and then, you know, Buddy sucker punches you. And in my mind, I'm like, there had to have been a brawl that broke out after, because then I'm picturing your friend being like, my best friend. And now you've like actually taken him down. Like, you're dead, man.
Yeah. Like, he felt the same way about that day at the grocery store that I did, you know? And so I think he like broke his
vibe
stick over the guy's back or something. Like, I know that happened. Somebody did that, but like, yeah, the brawl happened for sure. It was a total shit show. I think they had to cancel the game afterward to like scrape the blood off the ice too. It's fucking wild, man.
That's crazy.
You're well loved. That's what that tells us.
Thank you. I'd like to think so.
How long did it take you to recover? Kind of like, you know, concussions stick around and really affect for people.
July, and I didn't start playing again until I think October or November maybe. Yeah, I think it was somewhere around the fall. So it was, a couple of months until I could get my heart rate up to a point where, you know, it wasn't giving me a headache. And that's when they allow you to get on the ice again. So when that started happening, I kind of had a newfound appreciation for life, let alone hockey. And I started playing with a different kind of passion. And you know, my game was getting back to the level it was before, you know, everything happened in PEI even. And so, you know, I started playing better. I started, you know, getting attention from the scouts again, whereas before my stock had completely plummeted. I was like, you know, just not on the radar at all. And things were, you know, looking up again. It's great. I'm playing in front of 10,000 people, my friends and family at the Metro Center. Shout out Metro Center. Fuck Scotiabank. It's never going to be called that.
Never.
Never. And so, yeah, things were going well. And I think I got in a fight at some point, because that's what happens. And I took another knock to the head and I got another concussion. I didn't really say anything because I didn't want to miss any more time. This was like right at the cusp of when they started to take concussions very seriously in hockey. Mm-hmm. So I knew that if I reported my symptoms, that they would just take me out again.
Did you just lie? Like, just that you were feeling okay? And
I didn't say anything. Yeah. Like, meanwhile, I was having daily headaches, and that was just sort of something I learned to live with at the time. I think I took Advil every day of my life for like 4 years, which was not good, but anyway, so I got a few like small concussions. Like, it was nothing like the first time, but it was not good. And so I'd go through these periods of up and down. And then at one point I got hit from behind and my head went into the boards weird. And I had some bruising on my spinal cord, and I noticed that every time I put my head down, my whole body would go numb. And I thought that was pretty fucked up, but I thought it would just go away again. Like, you know, didn't report anything until one time I was like getting ready to go out for a game. And I was like, okay, this is spooking me, and I should probably tell the training staff. And so I did. And they're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you say anything? Like, you don't fuck around with your spine. And I was like, I'm sorry, I just want to be a good boy. And
play hockey.
Just want to play hockey with my friends. And so they were like, no, you need to get an MRI immediately. And so called up my grandfather, who was the head of radiology in New Brunswick. Shout out Greasy Ed, rest in peace, love you, dude. And so we got an MRI and saw that there was bruising on my spinal cord, and that if I got hit wrong again, I was at risk of becoming a quadriplegic or, something, something bad happening anyway. Bad enough where, my grandfather had a stern chat with me, and he was like, you got to really think about what you're doing with your body here, And so that got my wheels turning, and I started to consider what else I could do if hockey were to not work out. At this point, I had fallen out of love with the institution of the game. Like, it wasn't so fun for me anymore, and it wasn't really speaking to my identity. I found myself at the bar every night, to be perfectly honest.
The Dome?
I was at the Dome all the time. Palace IP, you name it. Like,
you could just leave the rink and go directly over there.
Exactly. I'd be still in my suit. It was a great gimmick.
The girls are screaming.
Very good gimmick, actually.
Yeah. It was a really fun time, And so I'm like, okay, I got to pay attention to what's happening here. Like, I love being out. I love seeing people and talking and making them laugh, telling stories. I always felt a little bit like I never fit in. In the hockey dressing room. Like, sure, I can walk the walk and talk the talk, but did it really, did I really feel like it was my chosen community? No. And so I started to sort of ponder these things, and I would ask my friends and family, just sort of like, what do you think I could do, instead of like, well, how could I use this thing that I really enjoy doing? And I came back to a dream I had when I was very young, which was to become an actor. And, before I even learned how to skate, I was watching movies all the time. And I think by the age of like 6 or 7 years old, I was dressing up like Indiana Jones every day. I told my mom, I was like, I want to be just like that guy. Like, when I grow up, I want to be that guy. What does he do? And she's like, well, he is
he's a fake person.
He's an archaeologist. And I was like, oh, okay, archaeology. That is it. I'm going to be an archaeologist. And I'm going to have a whip and a hat. I'm going to like smooch a bunch of babes and stuff. And then I found out that archaeology is nothing like that. And I was like, wait a second, Mom, like, what is this? Like, I'm looking at the encyclopedia, like, I don't see no hats, no whips, no babes. Fuck this. What is this? And she's like, no, okay, he's an actor. He's not actually an archaeologist. I'm like, okay, actor. That's what I want to be.
So that's stuck in your mind from when you were little. So that moment like really stuck in your mind from when you were younger until you were an adult.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of checked in with that desire to be Indiana Jones again. And I was like, how does that feel? And it felt wonderful. And I started to sort of survey my close community. I was like, what do you guys think about me becoming an actor? And they were all just like, at the mere mention of it, just like, yes.
Really? I love that.
Yes. If there's any one of us that can do it, it's you. And I was like, okay, that's a really nice vote of confidence. I can specifically remember a conversation that I had. I'll never forget this. Do you guys know Kyle Westhaver? Don't know that name?
No.
I know who he is, yeah, but I don't know him
anyway,
personally.
Okay, so he still is.
Shout out.
Shout out Westy. He and I had this very long, very deep conversation one evening that led into the morning. I remember because we watched the sunrise down on Halifax Harbor, and we were drinking beers and smoking darts and just contemplating life. And in that conversation was when I decided to quit hockey and become an actor. You know, he convinced me, he pumped me up so much. Like, he still maintains that he should be my agent. So he was just basically like, dude, yes, you can do it. I know, I believe in you. This will make you happy. Fucking go for it. So I think, you know, a few months later, I was ducking calls from the Halifax Mooseheads coaching staff, and I was on my way to Vancouver Film School, unbeknownst to them.
Why? Yeah, I was gonna say, why were you ducking the calls? You didn't tell them? So you
No,
quit
I didn't
without
tell them.
telling them?
I was too afraid to like confront them in the moment, and I was just sort of like, they kind of knew that I had one foot out the door, but I kind of pulled the rug from underneath them in that way. It was just sort of like, bye, I'm out of here. Sorry. So.
Well, good for you for recognizing that and just like not staying with hockey because it's, you know, what you knew and what you were kind of like locked into. Yeah. You just said like, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this, because a lot of people don't do that.
Right. And this is what I like to advocate for. You know, it was a decision that I was very fortunate enough to have had at a very pivotal age, where a lot of people, it may not happen to them until later in life. And it's not to say that it has to happen at any point in life, but, you know, it takes courage to recognize that, but it also takes a community of support, which I had in droves, you know, and like, I'll always be most thankful and give most credit to those people in my life. Westy, my mother was a huge influence too, you know, like telling my parents that I wanted to quit hockey was something I was very nervous about. I wasn't sure how they would react, because it's all that we've ever known until that point. And, you know, they had invested so much time and money into the development and all that stuff. So, you know, coming to them with this radical idea, I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but God love them. They fully supported me 100%. My mom was like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this properly. My dad was like, okay, if you want to be broke for the rest of your life, that's fine. You know, I support you.
Well, it sounds like your friends especially really recognized that you could do that, and you almost had that natural talent within you. So that's really cool. And look at you now, Steve.
Look at me now, making Hallmark movies.
From smoking darts on the hill to Hollywood.
Totally. Yeah.
But we love that story so much, because like a big thing that we are such big fans of is following your heart, and just like, and it is scary, and having the courage to follow through on that, I think, is really hard, especially if you are on a path. So I understand ducking the Mooseheads, because I get it. Like, you're like, it's hard to follow the path and then to have to deal with it and tell other people who aren't going to be happy, you know, save that.
Yeah, it was a difficult decision, but and I kind of regret how I handled it, definitely. But yeah, I just had to do it, and I didn't think I needed to explain it to anybody. And at the time, I was, you know, relatively uncertain if I was going to be any good or if I was going to like it. It didn't take long for me to figure out that. I mean, I think it took 1 week. By the end of the first week, I was like, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life, you know, and thank God I had the people in my life to nudge me into making this decision. Yeah, I mean, I can't advocate for that enough. You know, if you're unhappy or if your health is being compromised, you know, hockey is definitely not the most important thing in the world for everybody, you know, as much as they make you believe that when you're in it. And it certainly is for a lot of people. But in my particular case, you know, it was just something I did because I was big and athletic and, you know, was coachable, I guess, and grew up in that family. But I think what I did for my family by making that choice was very revelatory, because you know, my family up until that point, no one had pursued the arts. And I think that we are innately quite an artistic, or at least very expressionistic people. I don't know if that's a word.
We're,
Maybe.
you know what? We're counting it as a word.
Okay.
We are allowed to do whatever we want on this podcast.
That's great. We're so happy.
The Lunds are expressionists. That's
We're
great.
expressionists.
Who
That
isn't?
sounds right.
Sounds
Anyway.
beautiful. All I'm thinking about is like you someday playing Indiana Jones. Like, I'm like, I hope that happens. Just
Down the road.
someday, live out that childhood dream of yours, full throttle.
Look at you turning your head away.
I'm looking at the posters I have in my room. Like, look at this.
Amazing.
But you have to see.
We're so excited. Oh my God, the Indiana Jones posters.
Classic.
Legit love. They're plaques. They're like really valuable, whatever.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I feel like this is going to happen now. Ash put it out there. Steve, you should know we have really good skills for premonitions.
That's good. I mean, it's you aren't the first people to hint at that maybe happening, and the door hasn't been closed. They're actually I think it has been closed. I think Steven Spielberg even came out and said there will be no other Indiana Jones except Harrison Ford. But I don't think that Steven Spielberg, even though he's very rich, is going to live forever. I think I'm going to outlive him, and
there's going to be someone that sees the potential. You better start your somersaulting and all of your like stunts that you're going to have to do now.
Yeah, my bullwhip skills are still.
Oh, good. That's good. How are you swinging from vines? Doesn't he do
amazing?
that?
I was doing it kind of recently, actually, and I was like, oh, this is a breeze.
Next time we go by the Halifax Commons, Steve's at the playground there, like on the jungle gym, swinging, pushing kids out of the way.
I love that so much.
No, I was going to say, would that be like your dream goal, or is there any other kind of like role that you would love to play or envision yourself playing?
I mean, yes, that is probably my number one, but I think there's a lot of things that I'd like to do. I mean, people ask me like, what is your dream role? And I was like, God, I don't know that I have like one specific dream goal. I think I'd like to star in an action comedy. I think that would be the type of genre where I would feel like, okay, this is me at my most expressionistic. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, this is a word.
On.
Something where I can use my body and make people laugh. I think that would be me serving my highest utility. But there's a wide array of things that I'd like to do, different genres and types of characters. So I think my answer to that question, not that you specifically asked me that, but like would be as many different things as possible. A big fear of mine is getting either typecasted or at least perceived in a way that is, one-dimensional, or, I keep getting the same types of jobs. That's a recurring nightmare I have. So trying to diversify where I can is very important to me.
I feel like you're going to have a Matthew McConaughey moment where you have to like go into the woods.
A reconnaissance. Yeah. I'm kind of, man, I just read that book. It's so good. Oh my God. Have you guys read it or listened to it?
I have not.
No.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. Doesn't matter who you are, what you do. You must. It's just full of so many great nuggets and stories. Like, I found it personally very helpful. But I have kind of been feeling that way of late with all the Hallmark movies that I've done. Like I don't want to knock on those. Like, people love them, and I love that they love them, but I don't personally love them, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Well, they're not action comedy, which is your dream. So
they're not anything.
Very simply say that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I hate to look a gift horse in the mouth, it's been very helpful to me to make those movies at different times of my life, and need a couple bucks, but, and it puts smiles on people's faces, whatever. It's not the end of the world, but like, in terms of what I set out to do creatively when I made this choice, it's not to make Hallmark movies. Everybody's got to start somewhere. I understand that, but it's not something I intend to do forever.
Yeah,
fair.
Totally. Do you find like, okay, so now let's talk about some, you are known for your Hallmark movies. We do know that, but you're also known for Schitt's Creek. And like, let's talk about that for a moment, because when you guys finish filming that, first of all, your role on the show is hilarious and amazing. You play Jake, who's like the bisexual lover of Stevie and Dan Levy, right?
Yeah, the town bicycle. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, who's always shirtless. No complaints. We're into it.
Great.
But like, let's talk about that, because that was obviously a different kind of role, but even since the filming has wrapped, like that's taken off in a huge way.
Yeah, it's wild. I remember I was actually in isolation when the Emmys happened. And I wasn't even watching them. I was busy playing the drums. But somebody told me like, wow, you know, the Schitt's Creek is raking them in. And I was like, wow, my God. And then when I tuned in to find out that they had won 9 in 1 year, like a fell swoop, it was crazy. I don't know if that's ever happened before or what. I mean, it was quite flabbergasting. And I just felt so, my initial reaction was, this is going to do wonders for Canada and for all of the creatives in Canada, that, we're overshadowed by the United States, obviously, in every respect, especially when it comes to film and television. But, this is really going to put us on the map comedically,
talent-wise.
Yeah. And in terms of the message that the show, put forth, I think that was the most important thing, that people really recognized that there was an honest effort to, communicate the values that we hold dear here in Canada, I think, for the most part anyway. So that was really amazing to get that kind of recognition. For me, it's been a kind of like an imposter type feeling. I mentioned this in our pre-interview, but I don't really feel like I'm such a part of that. I was only in and out a few times. I got to hang out with everybody for a few days. Like what you see in the show is only really like, I don't know, like 7 days of work max, which was always really tough. I wanted to hang out a lot more with those people. I wanted to continue to work with them. I had the greatest time on that set. It's quite possibly the best set that I've ever worked on in terms of vibe and respect. Everyone's just having a blast. They're fucking finishing early every day, which is unheard of. So I just wanted to hang out with them more. But so for people to, congratulate me on the success of the show feels very strange. I have a hard time with that. So, I always try to tell people it's like, not me. It's all fucking Dan. This guy is the real deal. He's an amazing person. He was incredible to me. Everybody was incredible to me. Eugene was so welcoming and wonderful and hilarious. Just being in Catherine O'Hara's orbit for,
oh my God, she's amazing.
Legend.
I mean, from Home Alone, I love this woman forever.
Beetlejuice, like this woman's amazing. And so I remember the time that we got to ride home together. Her brother was her driver, which I loved. I just fucking loved that, And he's up front, she's shotgun, and I'm in the back seat, like kitty corner to her, and I'm just like, so Catherine, tell me about like John Candy. Tell me everything. I'm just like fucking just peppering her with questions the whole ride home from where we were shooting. And it was like, I'm like, counting down the minutes, like, okay, I only have like 10 minutes left. I got to ask this question. I got to ask this question. Like, it was so fun to just, just to meet them and to get to work with them, see how they work, was very illuminating. She is like off the walls, just like, a very peculiar way about her. I think the way that she inputs information and then whatever comes out of her mouth is just like, it's very unique. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Her process is very instinctual, I guess. She doesn't exactly know what she's supposed to say, you know, in a given scene, but she knows the gist of it. So whatever comes out of her mouth a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time is just like, okay, that wasn't the line at all, but it was even better, even funnier because it's coming from that, you know, that raw place where she's like trying to think of what she's supposed to say. Whatever comes out, it just feels so honest and natural, and it's very
like she actually becomes the character, so she can just kind
totally.
of
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah.
So Steve, from that experience with Schitt's Creek, like has that opened up new doors for you away from the Hallmark stuff or into just new areas?
Like such a resume builder.
Yeah, like I think so. I wouldn't have any quantifiable way to measure that necessarily, but I mean, in this industry, a lot of it is exposure, as you guys can surmise, right? So, yeah, the eyeballs that show got is certainly helpful. I think the nature of the character as well, like everybody kind of, you know, it's a character that anyone can like, right?
I also think even though it is a smaller character in the show, it's like a standout character. And it's great that you come back right at the end as well. Like you're just, even though you're not there physically, like you're there in concept through a huge part of it.
And that is what was so great about the character for sure. The fact that they invited me back for the final season was very touching. And I just loved that they buttoned that whole storyline up. That was great. But yeah, I guess the answer would be yes, I think so. You know, it can only do good for me, right? And I think with the success of the show internationally is where I'm seeing it the most. You know, I have that, as you said, Ash, that thing on my resume that people can be like, oh, I know that show, rather than, you know, a lot of the other things that I've done they haven't seen. So I think it can only have a positive impact on how casting directors see me in the future. Yeah.
And it's kind of going through this cool heyday right now, like a little later than it was popular in Canada in the US. So I feel like you're probably still riding that wave a little bit of exposure, which is kind of cool. Or Absolutely. We hope so anyways.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Are there any casting directors listening? Yeah, it's right. Like it was like 6 years ago that they started, or no, it's more than that, I guess now. But yeah, for it to all be happening now kind of feels like, geez, that was a lifetime ago. You know, I have a lot more gray hair than I did then. So yeah, it's pretty surreal, but it's a timeless kind of thing, right? Like it's a syndicated show that everyone will remember forever, and it's like I got to be a small part of that, and that's, my God, I mean, that's the dream. I'm so grateful for that. It's like, you know, thinking about it makes me emotional to even have just been given a chance to do something on that magnitude that touched so many people's lives in such a positive way. Like, I mean, I want to be part of that kind of thing always.
Love that.
All right, let's get to the hard-hitting questions, Sarah, that we're just dying to know, that we kind of talked about with Steve prior to hitting record. But you've kissed men, you've kissed women, you've done it all on the screen. Do you have any standout moments with men or women that have been the best as far as kisses go?
We want to know, the best on-screen kisses.
All right, so I had an experience recently that was rather enjoyable at the same time as it was very torturing. I'm not gonna name this person. It's not probably a good thing, but you know, man, so goddamn cliche. You make these romantic movies. It's okay. I'll actually use a quote from my grandfather. God bless him. Shout out Papa Chicky.
These names for your grandparents.
Yeah. So I was talking to my grandfather the other day, and he's watching a recent movie that he wants to watch the movies that were coming out just recently, and he's, you know, I'm getting them all set up with the PVR or whatever, and he goes, so I gotta say, you ever kissing for real? And I was like, Papa, it's really funny you say that, and you'll have to look for it in this particular movie. You know, I against my better judgment and contrary to my efforts, I kind of fell for a castmate recently, even though she's engaged, and you know, which is very controversial, which is why I couldn't possibly name her. All my friends know everything about it.
I mean, we're gonna just go Googling.
This seems like such a thing in the
we're not
acting
gonna
world.
name it. It's all good.
Yeah, this episode was recorded a long time ago. So and I was like, you know what, I did fall for this person. And he goes, well, I can imagine you would. I mean, they're looking good and they're smelling good and you're around them every day. I was like, you're right. She did smell fantastic.
It's like an Angelina and Brad moment.
Yeah, totally. It's, you know, it's not reality, right? Like, I think after some time has passed now, I'm able to, like, you know, come back down to earth. But even as it was happening, I was like, this is ridiculous. And this isn't going to hold up. And like, there's no winning this situation, you know, like it's ultimately wrong, the thoughts that I'm having, but like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to be respectful. I'm not going to interfere in anybody's life, but like, I know what I'm feeling and it feels fucking real. I mean, it's temporary. It's a moment in time. It's an opportunity for me to feel these things, even if nothing happens, which I think in itself is a wonderful gift personally. And so I'm going to allow myself to just sort of lose myself for a little while. And, you know, fuck it. I'm single. It's COVID times. It's not the easiest, you know, time to be single. And
nice to feel in love for a few moments.
It's nice to be, even if it's for a fleeting fucking moment where we just lock lips and it's like, this magic moment.
But it's so true, like you said, and you were talking with your grandfather, when you watch people on screen, you can feel, like I can feel that there's chemistry. And I'm like, this, in my mind, these people are really in love and this is happening. And then there's other times you don't feel that way.
Exactly.
So when people watch this film, they're going to feel it, Steve.
I think they may. I mean, enough people have, to the point where there was an article written about it. And it was like, are they together in real life? Like, I don't know,
This is like a thing.
We didn't see that article. I'm going to have to go search that up after.
I'll send it to you guys.
That would be amazing.
But yeah, there was some very palpable connection there, you know, and it's like, you're playing make believe, you're pretending to be in love, so much so that if you get along at all, and if you're attracted to each other at all, it's only going to, you know, exasperate that or magnify that. And it's like you're with each other for like 14 hours a day. So it's almost like you're going on 100 dates. You're getting to know each other so well. So it's like, you know, by the time we were done with it, I'm just like, yeah, like I know everything I need to know about you. I think you're great. And that's all it really was, you know. I told her these things too. And it was just like, I know nothing's going to happen, but I just want you to know, like, how I'm feeling right now is awesome, even though it's gonna suck really soon. Like, having you in my heart and in my head has been an amazing vacation, and I just want to tell you that I think you're fan-fucking-tastic. And if ever anything happens with that dude, who I'm sure is a great dude, he's probably a great dude, call me. You have my number.
You know what? No girl's upset to hear that.
I didn't think so either, you know, and there was no pressure put on her whatsoever. It was really just like, this is an unexpected thing that happened, and I'm choosing to see it as, you know, a temporary gift. And, you know, it's kept my hope alive in what's been a rather dismal time romantically this past year, you know.
I'm so invested in this now. Now I'm like, what was she shocked or surprised, or did she just say nothing?
She, I mean, I think on some levels she definitely reciprocated the feelings. I don't think it was like completely unrequited, but I also don't think that she was able to feel that way, even if she wanted to, you know. Like, we had many conversations about this, but yeah, she was very kind in her response, and, you know, we laughed about it, and you know, we're pals now, and that's another gift, you know, to have any friends that you like in the industry is great. So yeah, shout out to her who shall not be named.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is a great answer to best on-screen smooch. I was not expecting this.
Yeah, and so I'll give you the inverse of that. The worst on-screen smooch would have to be Dan Levy, and I don't think he would be offended by that. But it's the only reason is that he's got, so the look that they gave him on the show, like I have a beard on the show and he's got the stubble look.
Yep.
And, you know, God love him, he's, you know, a very warm and gentle man. But his beard stubble is so fucking prickly, so that every time I smooched him, and I haven't smooched many dudes in my life,
but it's more than one.
Right. And it's like take after take, and I got to fucking plant one on him. And it's like, you know, it's not as comfortable as I make it seem. It's not the most comfortable thing that I could possibly do. So I'm like, you know, maybe not as tender with it. I'm kind of like, you know, whatever, and back out. So, but by the end of it, my lips were so irritated. And I just got to say, my heart goes out to you women, you know, who have to deal with this.
We're not feeling sympathy for you as you're describing this.
No.
It's a very important teaching moment in my life, actually. You know, so
but you're used to the soft face. Like you're used to that feeling where we're used to like a little bit of stubble. But I'm telling you, my husband, Jeff, if he's got like too much happening, I'm like, I'm not going to kiss you. Feels awful.
Okay. Shave. So I want to know this. Yeah. Jeff's always clean shaven. I see it. Or,
he does like a shadow. He's always just got like a bit of a shadow.
But if he goes beyond that, he's not getting any.
It's usually, Steve, and maybe it's just the awkward growing out phase. Like yours is more of a full on beard, but when it's like straight sticking out, when there's, I don't know.
Sounds fucking terrible to have to do that every day. I don't envy you. I think I got it made in the shade. I'm so grateful. I just got to say, bless up, shout out women.
Those soft faces.
Soft faces, God love them.
You'll see some soon when you're out of isolation, Steve.
So excited. Looking forward to those soft faces. Okay, before we get into the less refined portion of this show, I do just want to ask about, you've got a film coming out later this year, Wildhood, right?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I actually don't know when it's coming out. I expect it's going to be sometime in the next year. I hope anyway. I think the release is being strategized to sort of work in accordance with the scheduling for different film festivals and which ones they get into. But yeah, this is a really exciting opportunity for a lot of folks. It's a movie called Wildhood, and it was shot entirely in Nova Scotia using a Nova Scotia cast and crew, which in and of itself was a dream for sure. Another really wonderful thing about it personally was that, you know, when I set out to become Indiana Jones and make movies for a living, I didn't really intend to make as much TV as I've made. I mean, obviously there's a lot more TV than there is film work, but this was actually my first independent feature film that wasn't for television, which is kind of astounding. I've been doing this for like 10 years, and them's just the breaks. Like that's kind of how it goes. You take what you can get, but I was finally able to work on a truly dramatic, you know, proper film, which felt incredible to do. It was actually another teachable moment because, you know, there were scenes when the director kind of had to come up to me and be like, Steve, take your time. And I'm like, right, we're not working in TV where everything happens so fast. You know, I actually have an opportunity for a real moment and to sort of like wait for a reaction to happen rather than trying to manufacture one on the spot, which is the case a lot of the time. So that was a really beautiful experience. The subject matter is incredible. The director Breton wrote and directed this movie. It's a coming of age story about this young, questioning, biracial, indigenous kid who was taught his entire, you know, adolescent life that his mother took her own life when he was very young, told this by his abusive alcoholic father. And so he goes in search of her with his young brother of a different mother, sort of like a road trip, coming of age, you know, sexual exploration story. Just beautiful, beautiful scenery. You know, the range of emotions that this movie goes through. There's moments of levity, there's moments of intense drama. It was a beautiful piece that I got to work on. I can't say enough great things. Shout out to the director Breton, the producer Garrett, who made it happen. I made some new friends on the show. It was really wonderful, and I have really high hopes for it, and I hope everyone keeps an eye out for it.
Oh, we're stoked.
We will do that for sure.
And that's so cool that it's your first kind of feature film length. Like, that's an awesome experience.
I know, and I felt you know, even having all the experience that I've had being on that set, you know, no one regarded me as a novice, but like I felt very much that way. I'm like kind of like experiencing this for the first time. Like, thanks for having me. Oh my God. Like, they're like, do you want lunch? I'm like, oh my God, really? Did I get a trailer? Like, it was kind of surreal in that way. I just felt like, no, I should be the one thanking you for being here. Like, thank you for this opportunity. Like, it was a profound experience for me. I'm so grateful for it. Everything fell in line. Getting to work in Nova Scotia, you know, I'd been aware of this project for like years when it was in its when it was originally a short film. So to see it come to fruition, I can't wait to see the final product. Everyone worked so hard on it. It was a beautiful experience.
Oh, we can't wait for that either.
Yeah.
All right, Ash, you're in charge now.
All right. Before we play our favorite game, Steve, we want to know, you're back in Nova Scotia, the weather's turning, but like, what are you excited about right now? What's lighting you up?
Okay, I've thought about this.
We want to hear it. This is the heartful.
So,
besides embracing your friend.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. But my question my answer is a general one, because, you know, truth be told, there isn't a whole lot of specific things that I'm terribly excited for, or that, how did you phrase it? Lifts me up?
Lights you up.
Lights me up. Okay. You know, COVID's been tough on everybody. You know, thinking about getting out of isolation and running into my friend's arms, it can't happen. You know, like, we're not allowed to do that right now. So I'm not terribly excited about those types of things. But in general, I feel very excited for what's around the corner for me, even though I don't know what that is. And the reason being is because I was given some, what you would call, bad news recently. I'd been interviewing for a job that's shooting in Nova Scotia. And I went through the ringer. I did multiple auditions, you know, signed a 6-year contract before doing this final round of casting for it. It was, you know, a really cool project, shooting here in Nova Scotia. I wanted it badly. Really, I just wanted anything, you know, any kind of distraction. And anyway, that didn't work out. It was between me and one other person, and they ended up choosing the other person. Shout out to them, whoever they may be. I'm sure they're going to do a great job. But, you know, when I got that news, and I'd been on the edge of my seat for 2 weeks waiting for this phone call, and when it came in, I was immediately stricken with grief. You know, I was upset about it. But I knew in the pit of my stomach that there was a reason that this was happening. And I just kind of felt like this was not meant to be. You know, there was something about this, if I'm honest, as much as I wanted it, as much as, like, you know, I committed to it, there was something that felt off about it. And so I knew that I would need to take my time to process this and sort of feel sad about it, and, you know, have a couple drinks, whatever I needed to do to kind of cope with it. But that in about 2 days' time, I was going to feel better about it. You know, there was just sort of the natural stages of grief for me. You know, I've gotten to the point now where I've heard no so many times. I'm pretty used to it. You know, it's especially tough when you want something really bad. But, you know, I was really trying to pay attention to how I was feeling in the pit of my stomach. And 2 days after I got that news, my sister reminded me that we finally figured out what time I was born, which is something I've been trying to figure out for a very long time. I'm a big subscriber in anything zodiac, anything.
We're going to have to do your human design offline after.
Human design, exactly. Dude. So one of my best friends in the world, Jess Jerome, Jessie J, Triple J, shout out, love you, girl. She's all about that. And she was like, and I told her this immediately. I was like, yo, we finally determined what time of day I was born. And she's like, human design chart, here we come.
You're going to have to tell me after what you are. I'm so curious. Okay,
right. So I'm a generator. Go figure.
So am I.
Okay, word.
I don't remember what I am, Sarah.
You're a manifesting generator.
Oh.
But after this, yeah, so you have sacral, so gut instinct. Oh, so good. This means so much. Okay, keep going.
Stay on the line. We'll have another hour-long chat, I'm sure.
We'll have a moment after, okay.
So yes, so everything like that, Sarah, I'm fucking so into, right? And unapologetically so. Like I don't give a shit what you believe in, but it's what speaks to me, you know. And so in being given that information, I was given what's called a North Node reading. Do you guys know about that? So I've been really looking forward to this for a while. My sister got it for me from a friend of hers for
What
Christmas.
is a North Node reading?
So your North Node is the sort of person that you are meant to sort of not transform, but grow into over the course of your life. It sort of deals in incarnations. So where you started is what your South Node is. And mine was like a Virgo or something. And then what I'm headed towards. So that's what I was in a previous life. And then what I'm headed towards and the person I'm meant to become in this lifetime is a Pisces. And I found that to be very encouraging. I was just, this fucking reading that I had, like the entire time I was like, yes, like give me more. Yes, this feels so good and right. And the things that she was saying to me were just perfectly aligned with my beliefs and the way I've been feeling lately. And just sort of spoke to this like specific experience that I had been going through. And so her lesson was to sort of surrender a lot more to the things you can't control, sort of the more cosmic and esoteric aspects of life that I am definitely interested in, to lean more into that sort of thing. So I think in general, I'm just feeling very positive about my life and what I'm doing. So I guess in a roundabout way to answer that question, I don't have anything specific that I'm looking for. Fucking nothing. Zilch. I have no jobs. I got, nothing to look forward to except being able to walk down the street, basically. But I'm very excited. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I don't care to know. All I just know is that I'm open to, trusting in my own instincts and just going along with that. I have an affirmation that the way I've been feeling, the way I've been thinking, and the way I've been doing things is the right path for me. So I'm happy to continue along that path and just see what happens for me. And any of your listeners are looking for a little guidance, I highly recommend them have their North Node reading done. It just kind of sheds a light and can confirm a few things that you might be feeling, or it's just good to have as a reminder. It's like, okay, why is this happening to me? Okay, might be for this reason. I'm just going to lean into that and see what happens and just sort of surrender. So
I don't know if you could know what an amazing answer this is for for us, because our hearts are so open right now. This is beautiful.
That's wonderful.
We're gonna have to learn more about the North Node readings. We might have to do an episode on this. It's
really cool. I mean, it was the first that I'd kind of heard of it, and like I said, I totally subscribe to these things. You don't really even need to be that committed to it to get a benefit from it, I don't think. But yeah, what a cool experience, and to happen in such a timely way, while I'm in isolation and going a little bit crazy, sure. To have that, like I said, affirmation, it's got me feeling like, fuck it, just throw it at me. I don't care, and I don't care to know what it is. And I'm just trying to live more structureless. And I think that's the Pisces method, I think. So yeah, wish me luck.
No, we actually each had a astrology reading. It was very in depth. Mine was about 2.5 hours.
Whoa.
And it was so crazy. And she sends you this like PDF with everything broken down specific to you. And it was so cool. Sarah did it. Well, we did them separately, but yeah, it was definitely a very cool experience.
And I remember my North Node she talked about, and mine is like being comfortable being seen more in this lifetime at like a very public level.
Cool.
Which is
Good
crazy.
for you. And look what you're doing. That's great. Geez, Ash, you're gonna have to give me the name of this person. I obviously need to have another.
Her name's Rebecca. We had her. She's actually from Ottawa, or she's in Ottawa, but she's from here, right, Sarah?
Yeah, and she was in LA for a number of years, but she anyways, we're going to stay on once we're done recording. We have to have a few conversations. We'll be swapping names. We're going to be talking about human design. Like, listen, Steve, we're like, our hearts are very open right now. We're all on the same page.
It's going to go over well. I'm glad. Thank you for being.
And it was I just want to add that it was a good reminder for me, because today I've been feeling like very rigid and like I got to do this. And I was working all afternoon before doing this. So I'm like, okay, just enjoy the ride. Just let things happen. Don't put too much stress around things.
That's what I'm here for, girl.
Steve's bringing the love in. We love this.
You're leveling us back.
We love this. Okay, so
great team, y'all.
Last but not least, we're going to play a round of Queeniegrams. It's very easy. It's a made-up game. All you do is pick a number between 1 and 111, and I'm going to ask you a question. We're all going to go around.
Okay,
so
my number is 52.
52. I can't even see the number.
Drum roll, Steve.
Oh, yeah, Steve.
Didn't even talk about that.
I know.
Don't worry. We do have to give a shout out to Burt Reynolds. So just give us the Burt Reynolds spiel.
We'll do an Instagram live soon and just really only talk about drumming and astrology.
Yeah.
I
mean, you got to do that with that. When is your isolation end? Anyways.
Yeah,
we're going to cover all this in the post. Okay.
Like we said in the beginning, friends forever.
When you were talking, I'm like, I don't know if Steve knows that we're going to be his best friends now.
Oh, I know. I foresaw this. Actually, my North Node said this would happen.
It was part of the journey.
Perfect.
Okay, Sarah, tell us what 52 says.
I love this. Steve, 40 years from now, how are you spending your time?
40 years?
40 years. So I don't know how old you are. I'll be 72.
I'll be 72 as well. I don't, 72. I just immediately think like Miami or something. I don't know. Somewhere. God, I hope I'm still working. That's the nice thing about this industry is you can kind of work until you croak. So I hope to be working still. I imagine that at 72, I probably figured out how to act a little bit. I think you just get better as you get older. So I'm hoping that by that time I've figured it out a little bit and enough so that I can continue working. But yeah, I don't know. I see myself in a lot of like, blush earth tones, that
all right. We like this.
Big sunglasses.
Yeah, totally. Just, holding court. I feel like maybe I'm living in some kind of complex where there are other houses close by, not like a retirement home, like a community where I can just sort of, tell stories all day long and sip on Arnold Palmer's or something.
In a golf
I don't know.
cart.
I've never really thought about this. I've never thought about where I'm going to be when I'm older. I just assume that I'm going to die at like 60. I don't know.
Interesting. That's so funny.
I don't know.
You don't.
That's my time. I just don't really care for, not being able to wipe my own ass.
Do you feel like at 72, that's the stage you're going to be at? Because I really hope not.
I don't know. Like, hopefully not. You're right.
I think you're going to still be able to take care of yourself at 72.
And if you're still acting, your brain's going to be sharp still. Your memory will be good.
Yeah. Let's hope I still have my health. I should say that. Yeah. But,
okay.
You want to be somewhere warm, surrounded by a fun community, still acting.
Still acting.
And blush tones, blush and earth tones. I love that.
Mhm.
Blushy earth tones. Yeah, some sort of melding of those two. That's just what I see. Maybe I have a cane, I have like a cigar. Maybe it's not an Arnold Palmer. Maybe it's like a rum and coke or something. No, it's like a good tequila. That's what it is.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shirts open, just like your shirt is right now.
3
maybe
buttons
the tank
deep.
top.
Oh yeah, we're liking this. This is good.
Such a shame it's audio, not video, right?
No, there's video.
There's
with
both.
This.
There's gonna be a little both.
So if you're listening and want to go check Steve out on YouTube, pop on over. Amazing. Ash, where are you 40 years from now? I know where I am.
I want to be living somewhere warm. That's all I really care about. Probably.
Okay.
I don't know what I'll be doing work wise. Like I'm not going to think about that. But if you think about I want to be like golfing somewhere warm. Just living life happy.
Well, this has now affected my answer.
Okay. Oh God. Tell us.
Go for it. Yeah.
Well, I just assumed I'd be next to you somewhere, but I don't want to live
so we
somewhere
have
warm all year.
No, not forever, but like, yeah, for snowbirds. We'll be snowbirds somewhere. Maybe we'll go to different places.
I like the
kind
snow.
of see my answer playing out in this. Like, I just see us all living together. I mean,
Steve, I think the three of us, we're going to be somewhere. Well, Jeff's going to be there too. There'll be another mix of people.
Your mystery actress could be there too. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe there's dogs, Sarah. There's poodles. We don't know.
There's definitely poodles.
Yeah. I think we can manifest this dream for ourselves.
It's happening.
40-year pact. We're the sisterhood of the traveling blush tones.
I love a blush tone.
I don't, but maybe by then I'll be so tan.
You won't care
all the time.
When you're
I won't care. All right, Ash, pick a number.
I'm gonna do 94.
94. What would you? Ooh.
Uh-oh.
I want to play this game every day.
I mean, this one's gonna be. If you what would you rather see into your future or fix something in your past? Did you read this question before? Because I feel like it's right along. With
I didn't. I don't even have the sheet open. It's meant to be.
Did you guys read these questions?
Yeah, we have like 100 and something questions that we've came up with.
This is the Queenie Grams game.
We're gonna sell
Rival and Queen.
We'll get you a pack.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, sorry, it was 40 years. Sorry, now I've got 40 in my mind. See into the future or see into my past?
Would you rather see into your future or fix something in your past?
I think future, because then I could maybe fix something now to change the future or change something now.
Interesting. Steve, how about you? I don't know. Like, I really can't like.
It's a good question because as part of my North Node reading, it was sort of like, you need to forget the past. You need to just shed that. And I don't have too many regrets, to be perfectly honest. There's obviously some things I would take back. But seeing into your future is, that's very alluring. I'd have to say, see into my future. Yeah.
I know. I feel like I would go with the same. But sometimes I like the surprise. Like,
no, me too. I know it's a tough one.
But maybe you can just turn it off. I mean, we make up all the rules to this, so you can see in your
maybe you can
as
do
much
both
as you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when you make up your own game. Yeah. Make up the fucking rules.
This is what happened. And you make your own podcast. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
Maybe it's just a still shot that we can just see a photo and it's in blush tones on a beach, happy and having a margarita.
Sipping margs.
And I'll be like, I'm just going to keep going there. Just keep going in that direction.
That would be really cool to just see one snapshot, like an encompassing shot. That's all it is. It's like a slide that you only see for 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I
would
think.
do. Be like, I don't know the context of anything, but like, I look good, so things seem good. Cool.
Mm-hmm. And then when you get to that moment someday, you'll be like, I'm here.
I've arrived.
I've arrived in my future.
All right.
Your turn.
I'm going to go with 95. If you had to eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? For some reason, and this is not what I would choose, but in my heart, in that moment, sushi came into my mind, which is not like.
Well, there's so many varieties.
But that's why I was thinking that. I was like, maybe, and like rice in the morning, Ashley's recently gotten me onto that. It's
Oh,
not like,
is this like a movement? What's going on with this rice in the morning? My sister was
So
talking.
good with some lettuce and an egg is like fair. It's a bowl, like a breakfast
I don't know.
bowl.
I think it's just like instead of bread, it's like,
Yeah, that's
hearty.
Or instead of oatmeal, kind of similar, but
That's how they do it in Asia.
Yeah.
I love rice.
Breakfast.
For some reason, sushi. That's what I'm eating for the rest of my life. So we'll put
You
that
ever
in the.
think like you could actually eat, like really think about that.
No, you're right. I can't actually eat that. See, okay, it's wrong. My answer's wrong. I'll pick something else.
Okay, Steve, what would you pick then if you could
I
only have
mean,
one thing?
You're essentially just saying your favorite food, right? But like,
Well, I don't know. Maybe you have to take into account nutritional value.
that's what I mean. Like,
What is,
what?
like,
I've
the
got a good
most
one. I've
balanced
got a good
thing?
one.
Yeah,
Ashley,
you guys know the rules of the game. I mean,
Well, I want to say salad because I'm really into, you can just make so many variations of salads. You could put rice in your salad. You could put pasta in your salad. You could just put chicken, meat, just salads every day, all day.
that's a fucking perfect answer.
Like I want to say pizza, but I know I'd be sick of pizza after 2 days.
Totally. Yeah. I'm not going to eat lobster every single meal every day, Yeah. Salad. That's
You could make lobster
like,
salad, Steve.
Hey. Yeah, I think you're cheating, but
there's no cheating.
Says who?
This is Queenie Grams. What am I talking about? Salads is a great answer. Yeah, I'd say like bowls.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want that answer. I was going to say smoothies, but now I'm changing my answer to bowls.
I make a lot of bowls. You can throw a lot of shit in there, like.
All right.
Well, if the three of us are together and we can only each have and we can share, then we've got sushi, bowls, salad.
No, I've changed to smoothies now because sushi was wrong, evidently.
Oh, that's good too. That's very nutritious. It's a great nutritiously responsible choice.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got bowls,
we'd
salads,
be skinny as hell.
Yeah, we're gonna be
with sides of margaritas.
We're 70 fucking years old.
Steve, you're definitely living to be 72 now.
Yeah, if I keep eating all these bowls, you're right.
You've got this to aspire for too. I don't know.
We love this. Okay. Where can everybody find you online? Follow along. Tell us.
Find me. I have a few things up on Pornhub.
Right.
What are they called?
Shout out. It's I don't know. What would be Village Bicycle Takes a Shower? Probably something on Mr. Skin. Actually, I think I'm on Mr. Skin quite a few times. I think you could I could have like an acting reel and then just a reel of my love scenes. Like I've done so many of them in my short career already. So do you guys know what Mr. Skin is? It's like the database where
but I'm gonna look it up.
There's nudity or sex scenes in a TV show or movie. It sort of gets compiled at this
like place. Knocked Up, like they're
exactly.
Fake.
So in Knocked Up, they're like, we make this website, and he's like, oh, like Mr. Skin, and he's like, what?
So you're very popular on that website. Good. So
yeah, I think I've shown quite a bit of skin. But no, my Instagram handle is Levin_stunned, LEVENSTUND. I'm not on Twitter. That's dead, I think. Is it?
It's not, but it's not for everyone.
Yes, it's definitely not for me.
You'd be really funny on there.
That's what people say, but it's like it's too much pressure. I don't like the vibe. I get a better vibe from Instagram, and Instagram's not perfect, that's for sure. But
pick your favorites.
But yeah, Instagram is definitely my favorite, and that's where you can find me in the club. Where else? Yeah, I mean, if you want to watch any of my stuff, there's some stuff on Flicks. There's stuff online. Just a quick Google search away. And
we'll link to some of our favorites. How about that?
Sounds good.
In the show notes.
Publicity, y'all.
Steve, thank you for coming on with us today.
Wait, it's over?
The formal part is over, Steve.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Well, but you're not going anywhere.
But yeah, you're going to stay here. We're going to do it behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm sorry for everyone that has to
miss out.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Thanks, y'all.